Hi, today we're doing another deconstructing questions video. So I'm going to be taking 3 questions from a past level 2 maths paper, and the one we're going to be looking at is the Pearson Edexcel April to May 2018 paper. So they are old questions, but they're still very relevant and good ones to be practicing with. So let's have a look at this first one. Question 1. Adam has an annual target to sell 94 cars a year. Adam gets a bonus if he meets his target. His target is 1.75% of the total sales he makes in a year, an extra £150 for each car he sells over his target. In 2017, Adam sold 114 cars and the total sales he made were 316,400. Adam thinks he will get a bonus of more than £8,000 for 2017. Will Adam get a bonus of more than £8,000? And if we look down here, we can see we've got 4 marks for this question. Right, so let's think what we're going to be having to do for each of these 4 marks. So I'm going to write down 1, 2, 3, 4 so we can have 4 steps. So we want to know, will he get a bonus of more than £8,000? So really, we know that the last step we're going to be doing will be compare our answer with £8,000. That's going to be the last step. So we've got to work out how we can get to our answer to start with. Well, we've got to work out the bonus. Now the bonus is split into 2 parts. So the first thing we're going to have to do is work out what this percentage is. So work out 1.75% of, and it's the total sales he makes. And the total sales, it's this amount here. So that's going to be the first step. We're not going to work it out, we're going to plan it all out first. But we're going to need to work out 1.75% of £316,400. Then there's another part of the bonus, and that's an extra £150 for each car he sells over his target. So work out, what can we call this? Target car sales bonus. So in other words, we're going to need to an extra £150 for each car he sells over his target. So what we're going to need to do is work out, he sold 114. So we're going to want to take off 94, because that will tell us how many over his target he sold, and he gets an extra £150. So we're going to be working out that calculation. Then we're going to find the total bonus. In other words, we're going to be adding together the answer to part 1 and part 2. So now we can actually start these calculations. So if we want 1.75% of this number, we can use our calculator. So we are going to do 1.75 is percent, so we're going to divide that by 100 to get that as a decimal. And we're going to multiply that by the total sales, which were 316,400. And that gives us, I'll write it over here, £5,537. That's the first part of the bonus. The next part is this bit: for every car he sells over 94, he gets £150. So we're going to do 114 minus 94, which gives us 20. And we're going to multiply that by 150. And that's going to give us 3,000. So we've done step 1, step 2. Step 3, find the total bonus. Well, that's going to be adding these together. So we can keep the 3,000 in here. and add on the 5,537, which gives us £8,537. The final part, compare our answer with £8,000. Well, it says, will Adam get a bonus of more than 8,000? Well, is this more than this? Yes, it is. So we can say yes. If you want to do it complete, you can put 8437 is greater than 8,000. Okay, so 4 marks, 4 steps. Yeah. So the next question we're going to have a look at now is actually question 3. So we've got Callie works for a building company. She needs to put a new surface on the car park of the car trading company. We've got the diagram shows the section of the car park that needs a new surface. Okay, we've got this diagram here. So we've got measurements all the way around. And Callie will cover the whole section of the car park with concrete. So all of this. The concrete will be 0.09 meters deep. So that's the area. So if you imagine, I'm going to kind of turn this into a bit of a 3D drawing. So we've got the area, but we've got this depth as well. And this depth here is going to be 0.09 meters. And it says, what is the total volume of concrete Callie will need? And they also ask us to show a check of your working, and we've got 5 marks. Well, if we've got 5 marks, I know that the last mark is going to be for the check. So I'm going to do my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. So these are the 5 marks, and we said the last one was going to be do a check. Okay, and that check, well, we don't know yet, but it will probably be by estimation, or it might be a reverse check. Well, let's go to the beginning. What's the first thing we're going to need to do? Well, we don't know a nice, easy way of working out an area of a shape like this. So the first thing we're going to need to do is divide this shape into easier to work out shapes. And the best shapes to divide it into are going to be into rectangles. So divide into rectangles. Okay. Once we've divided them into rectangles, well, then we're going to need to work out the area of each of them. So we're going to work out area of each rectangle. Well, once we've got the area of each rectangle, that's great. We're going to need the total area. So work out total area. Once we've got the area, then we can go on to working out the volume. So find total volume. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to work out the total area and then work out the total volume. Now what you could do is, if you're working out separate rectangles, you could work out the volume of each rectangle and then add them together. That would be valid, but we're going to do the total area first. So if we want to divide the shape into rectangles, we could split it this way, so have a small one and a big one, or I'm going to divide it down this way. So we've got one rectangle up here and one down here. So the area of this rectangle up here, the area is the length times the width. And the length, well, I'm going to say the length is up here, is 62.5. And the width is across here, 39.5. So we might as well work this one out now. So with the calculator, we've got 62.5 times 39.5, and that gives us 2,468.75, and that's going to be meters squared. Now we want the area of this rectangle down here. So this area is going to be the length, which is 42.5, and the width, which is down here, which is 12.75. So 42.5, and we're multiplying that by, what was it, 12.75, and we get 541.875. Again, that's meters squared. So the total area is going to be these two added together. So we've already got this in the calculator. I could have put the other value in my memory, I should have done, but I won't. I'll add it on now. So add on 2468.75, and we get a total of 3010.625 meters squared. Okay. Then what did we say we needed to do next? Well, we were going to work out the volume next. So for the volume, well, if you know the area, to get the volume, you multiply it by the length, or in this case, by the depth. So it's going to be 3010.625 multiplied by this distance here, which we were told is 0.09 meters. So I've still got this value from before, multiplied by 0.09. Right, we've got quite a few decimal places, but we've got 270 point, I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places. We've got 956, so 2 decimal places would be 9 and 5, but this is more than 5, so we're going to have to round that up to a 6. So 270.96, and its volume, so it's going to be meters cubed. So that's our answer for the volume. We've then got the check to do. So probably the easiest way to do it would be, let's do reverse check. So we'd start with the 270, and to get there we multiplied by the 0.09, so we could divide by the 0.09, and using our calculator, that's going to get us back to this. It might be slightly different because we rounded this number, so it's not going to be 100% exact, but it'd be very close to that. If we wanted to do an estimating check instead, we could round all of these numbers that we used in the area calculations to the nearest, I don't know, nearest 10. So what we would have here, instead of 42.5 times 12.75, we could have 40 times 10, which is 400. And this one, instead of 62.5 times 39.5, or the nearest 10, that's going to be 60, and that's going to be 40. 6 times 4 is 24, and 2 zeros. So we could do it that way, and then add the two together, 2,800, and then, well, we multiply by 0.09, well, let's round that to the nearest tenth, which would be 0.1. And we're just going to be, because it's 1 decimal place, effectively we're going to knock off a 0, so we're going to get 280 meters cubed, which is very approximately equal to that. So we could say okay. So 2 ways of doing the check. You've got the reverse check, this one here, or check by estimation. And finally on this paper, next question I've picked is question 4. Catherine works in a theatre. She sets the price of tickets for a new show. Catherine uses this formula to find the price of a ticket for a seat in the stalls. So we've got a formula here. P equals 6,500 divided by, and then all of this is underneath, x plus 0.9y. And if you remember, when you've got a number next to a letter, it means you multiply them together. P is the normal price of a ticket for a seat in the stalls, in pounds. So that's what we're working out. X is the total number of seats in the stalls, here. And Y is the total number of seats in the balcony, here. The theatre has 180 seats in the stalls and 70 seats in the balcony. On Monday, Catherine sells 45 tickets for seats in the stalls to a school. She charges 60% of the normal ticket price for each seat. Work out the total amount Catherine should charge the school. So 5 marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's think of all our steps. Okay, well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write the formula, but with numbers replacing the letters. So we're going to substitute in the values for x and y into that. Once we've got those in, we're going to have numbers in there. Well, then what we'll do is we will use the order of operations or BIDMAS to solve the first part. So in other words, we're going to work out what we need to do first. Okay. Actually, what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to sort of do this as we're going along. So write the formula with numbers instead of letters. So what that means is, well, that's just a number on top. So the x is the total number of seats in the stalls. So we're going to replace that with 180. And 0.9, we said when it's next to a letter, it means times. And y is the number of seats in the balcony, which is 70. Okay. So when we say use BIDMAS to solve the first part, well, what would we do first in this? Well, we'd say brackets. We haven't got any brackets here, but we sort of have. Because when you've got a division, the division is splitting this into 2 bits. So really what it's saying is everything at the bottom needs to be done first. So it's almost like this is in brackets. We can't do the division before we know what the answer at the bottom is. So we've got a plus and we've got a times, or multiply. Well, which one comes first? Well, the multiply comes before the add. So the first bit we need to do is the 0.9 times 70. So 0.9 times 70 is going to give us 63. Okay, then the next bit we do is use BIDMAS. So again, we're always going to be BIDMAS for the second part. Well, once we know what this is, we've done the multiply, then we need to add on the x, which we know is 180. So we're going to do 180 plus 63, which we can use our calculator, or you might be able to work that out in your head to get 243. So now we've worked out everything at the bottom. So again, we're going to use BIDMAS for the next part, which is going to be our 6,500. Now we can divide that by everything at the bottom, which is the 243. So 6,500 divide by 243, and we get 26 point, I'll round it to 2 decimal places for now, 0.7489 to 74, but we're going to round up because of the 8, so 0.75. Okay. in fact, because we're working that out for a ticket price, I am just going to round it because we'd want it in pounds and pence. Okay. So that's worked out the normal price of a ticket. So the last step we're going to have to do is find total price for 45 tickets with discount. So to get the full price for 45 tickets, we're going to do 45 times 26.75. And like I say, we do want to round this. Normally I'd say keep all of the values, but because this is money, we've actually worked out the price of the ticket is £26.75. So we're going to multiply that by 45. And we get £1,203.75. Okay, and then she charges 60%. So we're going to multiply this by 60%, which is 60 over 100. Times it by 60 divided by 100. And we get a total price of £722.25. Okay. So we've gone through these questions, we've planned them out. As I say, sometimes it can be very difficult to plan the whole question out before working it out. But at least by writing what we're doing, we're keeping track of it so that when we get to the end, or if we come back to the question at the end of the paper, we can check it, we can see what we've done, we can spot if we've made a mistake or if we've done something in the wrong order. So it's all about kind of getting the thoughts in your head down onto paper, and not trying to just remember everything. Remember, you can write things down and then you don't have to store so many things. Right, well, I hope you found that useful. Please like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel, make sure your notifications are on so you get updates as I add more videos, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.